Okay, so you've definitely heard the name Tesla. You know, the car. But the man behind the name? Wow. His story is this incredible mix of pure genius, a bitter rivalry, and a vision for the future that was so powerful it almost destroyed him. Today, we're diving deep into the life of Nikola Tesla.
So let's just start with the huge question. Who really invented the 21st century? You know, the world we're all living in right now. A lot of people would probably jump to names like Thomas Edison, maybe Marconi, but I have a feeling that by the end of this, you're going to have a completely different answer in mind.
First up, we've got to get inside his head. To understand the inventor, you really have to understand the mind behind it all. Our story kicks off way back in the 19th century, in the Austrian Empire, with this young kid whose imagination, well, it was more real to him than the actual world around him.
You see, Tesla was different. He didn't work like other inventors, with endless sketches and tinkering. No. After the tragic death of his brother, something shifted in him. He developed this almost supernatural power of mental visualization. I mean, he could literally design, build, and even run incredibly complex machines entirely in his head. He'd test them, tweak them, perfect every last detail, all without ever touching a single tool. It's kind of wild to think about.
So with this incredible mind, he has this one defining moment. It's 1882, he's just walking through a park, and then bam! The entire concept for the alternating current motor, and I mean the engine that powers our entire modern world, just flashes into his brain, fully formed, just like that. That one idea was going to change everything. And just 2 years later, he takes that world-changing idea to America and right to the doorstep of the one person who would become his greatest and most bitter rival, Thomas Edison.
And that right there is what kicks off one of the biggest showdowns in the history of technology. People call it the War of Currents. This wasn't just about two guys. Nope. This was a battle for the future of electricity itself.
I mean, you couldn't find two people more different. On one side, you have Tesla, the visionary. He saw the future, and it was alternating current, or AC. On the other side, you have Edison, the ultimate businessman. He'd built his entire empire on direct current, or DC. Tesla visualized perfection in his mind. Edison was all about trial and error, just trying thousands of things until something stuck. So this wasn't just a simple disagreement over tech. It was a total clash of personalities, of philosophies, of everything.
And yeah, that clash, it blew up almost right away. Edison dangled this huge offer in front of Tesla, $50,000. We're talking millions today, if he could fix his clunky, inefficient DC generators. Well, Tesla, being a genius, did it, and he did it brilliantly. But when he went to collect his money, Edison just laughed in his face and said, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor." Ouch. Tesla, feeling completely betrayed and furious, quit right there on the spot. And that's when the war really began.
Okay, so why should you care about this fight? Well, it all boiled down to one simple, unavoidable fact. Edison's DC power? It could only travel about a mile before it fizzled out. Tesla's AC power? It could go for hundreds of miles. I mean, it wasn't even a fair fight. AC was clearly the future, and Edison knew it. That's why he got so desperate. He launched this absolutely vicious smear campaign, publicly electrocuting animals with AC just to try and scare everyone into thinking it was too dangerous. It was brutal.
But in the end, you just can't fight better technology. Tesla teamed up with George Westinghouse, and together they delivered two knockout punches. First, in 1893, they lit up the entire Chicago World's Fair. It was this dazzling, spectacular display of AC power that just blew everyone's minds. Then, the real checkmate, in 1896, they harnessed the raw power of Niagara Falls, building the world's first massive hydroelectric plant. And that was it. The War of Currents was over. AC had won. Period.
So you'd think after winning this epic battle and literally building the foundation of our modern electrical grid, he might take a victory lap, right? Nope, not Tesla. His mind was already leaping light years ahead to a new dream, one that was way more ambitious and, ultimately, so much more tragic.
So what was this dream? He called it the World Wireless System. And get this, it wasn't just about sending messages like a radio. He wanted to broadcast electrical power itself, through the air, through the ground, making it available to anyone, anywhere on the planet for free. I mean, think about that. It was this beautiful humanitarian vision, and it quickly became his greatest obsession. And he wasn't just dreaming, he was proving it could work. Picture this, it's 1898, Madison Square Garden. Tesla walks out on stage and pilots a small boat around a tank of water with his mind. Well, not his mind, but with radio waves. The audience was completely stunned.
He had just invented remote control. I mean, that's the granddaddy of robotics, of drones, of so much of our tech today. The man was living in the future.
This whole vision leads him to his masterpiece project, the Wardenclyffe Tower. But this is where the dream just completely falls apart. Here's how it happened. First, he gets funding from the mega financier J.P. Morgan, but Morgan just thinks he's funding a radio tower to send messages. Then, his rival Marconi manages to send a dinky little radio signal across the Atlantic first, and here's the kicker. He used 17 of Tesla's own patents to do it. For Morgan, that was good enough. But the real problem? He finally understood Tesla's bigger plan, free wireless power for everyone. And he asked the killer question, where do I put the meter? You can't sell something that's free. So just like that, he pulled all the funding.
And with that, the whole thing just collapsed. The failure of Wardenclyffe didn't just kill the project, it absolutely shattered the man. He was financially ruined, he had a nervous breakdown, and this brilliant mind just faded away from the public eye. He spent the rest of his life mostly in obscurity.
So the man himself might have faded into the shadows, but his ideas? Oh, they had already been planted. And here's the incredible irony. In the end, his world became our world.
Remember this number, 17. What's so special about 17? Well, that's how many of Nikola Tesla's patents his rival Marconi used to send that so-called first radio signal across the ocean. The whole world threw a party for Marconi, but the tech that made it all possible, it was pure Tesla.
Eventually, history did set the record straight. In 1943, just a few months after Tesla died completely broke and alone, the U.S. Supreme Court finally did the right thing. They overturned Marconi's core patents and legally recognized Nikola Tesla as the true inventor of radio. It was a massive victory, but a tragically late one.
But let's be real. His true legacy isn't some dusty court document. It's literally all around you, right now. The electricity powering the device you're watching this on, that's his AC system. The motor in your fridge, your vacuum, heck, even the motor in a Tesla car, that's his AC motor. Your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth headphones, your remote control, it all goes back to his work in wireless tech. He didn't just have a few good ideas, he basically designed the operating system for the entire modern world.
And for decades, he was pretty much forgotten by history, a footnote. But then the internet happened, and the internet resurrected him, big time. His story just connected with people. You know, the brilliant, visionary genius against the greedy corporate machine, it's the ultimate underdog story. He became this icon, like the patron saint for every innovator, every artist, every outsider who's ever felt misunderstood.
And if you want one last example of just how ridiculously far ahead of his time he was, listen to this. Back in 1905, he predicted a future with small, handheld wireless devices. Devices that would let us transmit pictures and text and sound to anyone else on the globe, instantly. I mean, he was describing the smartphone, 100 years before it existed. It's just mind-bending.
So that brings us back to the big question at the end of all this. What is the price of a truly revolutionary idea? Well, I think Tesla's life is the answer. His story is about the incredible glory of dreaming on a scale that big. But it's also a tragedy. It's about a man whose vision of a free, connected, wireless world was just too grand, too early for the time he lived in. Which is the greatest irony of all, because it's a world that he, more than anyone else, actually invented.